Once you learn how to do that, then you can bring in all the stakeholders and you can get into programs that'll help you and train you on how to build it. But that first step is you have to design a business model that is desirable.
When I initially moved back to Pensacola, I had a meeting with Lloyd. Lloyd invited me for breakfast and I was telling him, man, I still have an idea for the entertainment industry. This is what I wanted to do. He was like, all right, I got Startup on the Blocks. So I need you to start coming to Startup on the Blocks and get a little more information on how to work through the tech ecosystem and take your idea and we'll get you where you need to go. My company is called The Know, is an app that is streamlining business for the entertainment industry. Yeah, so if you're a musician, what you would do is pretty much jump on the platform, you'll create a profile, but the way we created the profile is pretty much a cleaner way. So now if they want more information about you, you'll connect your social media platforms, your streaming platforms, and that way they can go directly to it. What we also have included is your calendar. So pretty much you can set your days, you can set your price for your days and automate your booking. So initially talking to Lloyd, my idea was all here, it was there, it was over here, it was over there. It was like, all right, Quinn, I get it. You got a lot that you want to do, but we need you to bring it in just a little bit and then work on your pitch, your story, and how you're going to bring it full circle to get people to understand what you're trying to create.
Most of the programs here wasn't inclusive, and so we said we'll focus on helping founders of color. We also start at the beginning of the thing, at the idea stage, whereas a lot of the programs you see here locally, they start after you're up, and that's not very efficient unless if you don't have a lot of money, you can't recover from your mistakes. And the lean startup system, it actually helps you make mistakes faster before you spend a lot of money. You don't actually start building anything until you got customer buy-in.
There was a need for small businesses to bring brand awareness to their business. I see there's a lot of makers and bakers that they're making all of these goodies and these products, but they can't market it, they can't sell it at the same time, and there needs to be kind of that middleman, that middle person to help bring economic growth to some of the small businesses in Pensacola. So Taste of Pensacola, I came up with that idea during the pandemic when I saw things at that time that Amazon couldn't fulfill. They didn't even have those products, but the local people in the community, they did. And so there was a ton of people coming out saying, hey, I make masks. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. All the local people here that are just as talented that can actually make those products. And so I wanted to kind of showcase who they were. So with Taste of Pensacola, our income streams, we have several of them. We have the corporate America, we do corporate gifting, just regular consumers, different Pensacola natives that don't live here that want to purchase our boxes, like a taste of weddings, distribution. So we also do bulk sales. So for a private airline, if they want some local snacks and goodies on their passenger flights, they will come to Taste of Pensacola and we will source their vendors here locally. And we'll give a small business owner an opportunity to have reoccurring monthly sales. I've always had a really big vision for Taste of Pensacola. I knew that it could go beyond just local. I know that maybe other communities could possibly use the same platform that I'm trying to build. And I always have these big visions, but I never know how to even get there. Where do I start? I know it's more than, there's a lot of technical things behind it. I know there's a lot of research, but that connection, I never had it until, thankfully, I met and was introduced to Startups on the Blocks and was able to just learn more about how to grow it in terms of data. Things I just never thought about, framework, words like traction. There's a lot of things that I just did not know about in language that I need to know in order to get funding for my business. There's just a lot that I didn't know.
I would go to the stores and look online. They didn't have a wide variety of natural hair products about 8 years ago. And the ones that they did have, the ingredients, it would say that they were all natural. And when I would research the ingredients, a lot of the ingredients were not natural. I make everything, my shampoo, conditioner, I have an oil that I make, and I have 2 different separate butters. Like I had some people who were completely bald and grew their hair. It's about giving women their confidence back in their hair. I have this salon and then I have a second salon, and I have my products in about 5 beauty supply stores. So I need a manufacturer to keep up with the demand at this point. Startup on the Blocks has helped my business grow. Send me to different people. I'm able to do different pitch competitions to apply for grants in the community for small businesses. Lloyd's a really good person to connect with. He has a lot of resources here in the community that can help small businesses grow. If you have a product out there and you're trying to go big time, he's the person that you would want to meet with.
So it's really important to have some type of support because 9 times out of 10, most founders start out on their own. And to have somebody that has an idea of how the ecosystem works and is able to tap into other resources and bring back to the community, and that pretty much has encountered some of the roadblocks or going through the same roadblocks that we're currently going through and understands where you're at, your culture and how you respond to things, is a big help because you don't really have too many people that have access to what we have access to here in the community. And a lot of people believe that you have to leave and go to bigger cities to do the things that we're doing here. But I mean, it's one thing to have exposure, but you have to actually know it's here in the community in order to take advantage of the resources. So I get approached and I talk to friends all the time that wants to either start an idea or hear that I'm actually doing the app and wants to know more information about how are you doing it or what's the process, what's the path. I'm like, man, we have somebody here, Startup on the Blocks, Lloyd Richard. And Lloyd is here, he's a great resource to the community and to founders that's trying to learn the ecosystem. So join Startup on the Blocks.
Hey, Don, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, Lloyd? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. Welcome to Startup on the Blocks, and we're really excited to be here. I think we're getting close to 200 episodes of this event, and
Nice.
Yeah, so we're right around 184 events, and our anniversary for our fourth year would be, I think, around August 13th is when we got started back in 2020. So we're definitely real excited, to be here and supporting founders all over the world to kind of help them with the best practices for building a startup. So it's definitely hard work, but it's fun, and we're learning in the process of supporting founders. So glad to have you here to kind of share the stage, and so we'll give you go ahead and before I do the sponsors, why don't you just tell folks a little bit about your background and cybersecurity and stuff like that?
Sure. So I'm retired United States Air Force. I didn't actually start off in cyber. I was a weapons troop. And then just how fate had, pushed my career into IT. Then eventually I moved on to a government agency and became a cyber network defense analyst, pretty much from the ground up. It was quite a learning curve. So I ended up excelling in my organization. And then I decided to go ahead and branch off on my own and start my own company and try to help people go through the same get over the same hurdles that I got over training. Then eventually it just kind of evolved. I kind of fluttered for a little while without the lean canvas until it moved into cybersecurity as a service. So, just that's the long, short, skinny of it, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, well, we're glad to have you here, and looking forward to a nice chat. Let me share my screen here and give a shout out to some of our sponsors so we can keep them rolling and supporting us. Yes. So yeah, it's over the years we've accumulated some partnerships with the community, and it's enabled us to kind of help founders close the knowledge gaps for what it takes to take advantage of the ecosystem, and so that's what we're all about. So there's certain knowledge you should know about startups or business, that if you know that stuff or learn that stuff, the ecosystem will help you build whatever you're trying to build. And that's hard for some folks to understand, but that's the way the ecosystem works. If you're building something, the folks will come out to help you build it. And so that's kind of, so we partner with organizations like Blacks in Technology, Florida Power and Light. Matter of fact, they sponsor our Black Founder program for the state of Florida, and so we partner with the local chambers to kind of connect and support their members as well, and they support us as well. And I guess you recognize this particular symbol right here. That's for the Startup Science, and that's a really, really great partnership with them as well. Small Business Development Center, done a meeting with the guy who runs that this week. They've definitely been a big part of my startup career. I think one of the pitch competitions I won, they helped coach me on that as well. And it's free hotels early on, and they still are one of our sponsors. They sponsored a half a dozen of our pitch competitions when we first got started. So that was pretty neat, and to have an organization like that supporting diversity in the startup ecosystem. Yep. And so I know you're familiar with this Pitch Bob. I want you to tell what Pitch Bob is all about.
So Pitch Bob is pretty much, your assistant robot, for coaching you through how to build a pitch deck and a sales deck, and then ask you questions that the VCs are going to ask you when you start looking for funding. So it's definitely a robot, because it'll keep asking you questions and keep going until I had to take a break after a while. But it asks you really, really good point, very straight to the point questions. A lot of questions that when you're starting a business, you don't kind of answer. You get really kind of excited about, starting the business, getting the stuff going, getting the LLC, doing all the stuff. But then it's like, hey, okay, you need to make money. Nobody's just going to come out and start buying your stuff because Don is running it, right? So it really asks you a lot of direct questions to get you through, pretty much a pitch, pretty much. So,
Yeah, I guess that's why they call it Pitch Bob.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And let me see if I can pull their website up here on the screen here to kind of give people a better idea what they're all about. So this is the website here, and we have a discount code, and I'll share the link. So we have a document here with all the links to a lot of the opportunities that we have. But anyway, we're one of their partners, and it's a really fascinating product, and to coach you along your startup journey. And it's just a one-time fee you pay, and you get 50% off that one-time fee. I can show the price in here real quick. So it's not expensive at all, and so you get these, with discount codes, you get it for half price. So that's a really, really nice partnership. One of our other partners that are not listed on the slide is, I'll pull them up, as Coda. And this is a really nice partnership right here. So Coda, it's the best. I have to get your attention about it first, but it's a very affordable product. But the thing is, just to kind of get you to feel for the significance of it, 80% of the Fortune 500 companies use Coda. And so you may have not never heard of it, but you, as a startup founder, you want to know about this product. So, but as you can see, let's see here, I'm going to go back to my org. Yeah, so basically you can do a free account for a little while, and they got $10 a month, $30 a month. But since we're their partner, you can actually get this free for 6 months, and it's got AI built in it. You can prompt your documents, and you can have it build tables for you, or build anything that you can do in ChatGPT, you can do it in there. So it actually comes with unlimited AI for 6 months. And what's unique about this particular product is that you can integrate any other piece of software that has an API into and bring that data into your document. Even if your startup application, if you got a web app, a mobile app, and you create an API for it, you can pull that data from your customer data from that into the document. And so it's just a really neat, you can literally run your whole back office off of Coda. So that's what neat about that. And one other product, we haven't partnered with them, but I wanted to kind of share this particular product too. And so if you're into project management, or if you're a startup founder and you need to a project plan to grow your startup, you can just do a simple prompt in this particular software, and it'll build out a whole project plan with all the subtasks. And you were talking about brainstorming before we came on air. It helps you brainstorm and everything. So it's
what's the name of that one again? Task.
Taskade. Task. This if you can see it, Taskade. But it's a really good product for planning out anything to the nth level detail.
Nice. I definitely need that because because I started writing out a lot of the, I got this once again set up for the blocks. If eventually if I want to sell this business, in order to sell the business, I have to sell the processes, right? So
So I guess I'm not really telling you all this stuff about this product, and I'll try to blow it up a little bit. And so you see at this $8 a month on an annual basis, it says unlimited AI users, and look what it uses. It uses the paid version of ChatGPT.
Oh, there you go. save a couple of bucks.
Yeah, right? And so we use this particular thing here: unlimited workspaces, unlimited AI agents. You can literally build AI agents. You can research agents, so you can build your whole staff with this product.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's just I'll go ahead and put that in. I guess let me go find our link. We have a referral link for that, but it's really worth everybody taking advantage of that particular product. And I'll put the referral link for Coda in there as well.
Yeah, that's definitely what I got from your program is eventually if you're gonna sell this process, they're gonna ask. It's like, all right, so let's go. What are you doing? How you doing it? Where's all your paperwork at? So
gotcha. Yeah. So, but there are a lot of advantages for being a startup founder, and one of those advantages is you get software at a discount or software for free.
Right. That's always good.
So which side you want to be on that stuff. So I'm going to scoot through some of this stuff, and then you and I can have a little chat here. But anyway, our Black Founder Program, Founders Program, the application is out there, and it's the deadline is July 1st. And so the website is the application link is apply.kakuainstitute.org, and so you basically have 4 2-hour workshops where you get coached through this. And Don, I guess you actually did this on your own, I guess, huh?
Yeah. So that's where it starts kind of coming together. A lot of my processes were very much all over the place, and kind of going through the lean canvas really just kind of lays everything out for you, as opposed to just, all right, get out there and start selling hot dogs. Okay, so what kind of people are you selling the hot dogs? What kind of hot dogs are you selling? So
Yeah, and so and you're welcome to go through this if you want to, even though you did it on your own, and you can do it on your own. But when you go through um, the 30-day business model design thing, you can also you get to compete for $3,000 cash. So three of the founders get on demo day get selected for $1,000 prize. So just thinking, in 30 days after you get started, you could be one of the ones that taking home $1,000 for learning how to build a business model. So could you use $1,000?
Always. Mark, that sales funnel is expensive.
Yeah. So let me put the link in here. But yeah, so that's coming up, and so don't miss out on that. So it's just apply dot Kakua Institute.org. And I'll just maybe it's probably going to be easy for me to just go copy. I'll be here typing all day. Let's see, it's up here somewhere.
Like we were talking about earlier, you give so much information. I had to make myself a little, my own little repository, my little archive of Lloyd to keep all the nuggets of information, because there's a lot, especially with a lot of AI stuff, with it being so new, it's one of those things where, you're a little hesitant to use it, but it productivity wise, it is really like another brain. I don't remember the last time that I've been on Fiverr, because I've been using AI. So
yeah, that's something. And the people on Fiverr, they're actually using AI to get to speed through all the work that's going on. So the Tony asked this question about, is it only for Florida founders? So the Florida founders that participate, they can compete for $3,000. We're letting folks outside of Florida in, but they can't compete for the $3,000. So Florida Power Light, they're powering Black Business program. That's where the funding is coming from. So we can only give that money to Florida founders, but we invite other folks to outside of the state of Florida, or even outside of the country, to actually participate as well, to get access to the training. So don't miss out on that. Don't make excuses. It's there for everyone to kind of take advantage of the latest knowledge. So basically, you're learning how to communicate with the folks in the startup ecosystem, because when they start asking you questions, you want to know how to answer them. And this particular program gets you off to a good start. We have. Let me also share. We also have available the Startup Science Program, and but basically this is another tool that founders can use to actually document what they're doing with their startup, and it's training that teaches you all the key terms that you need to know for business and as a startup founder. And so that's what's important about that. So, yep. So we were talking a little bit earlier, and you were talking about how you were filling out your profile on all these different sites. So this allows you to build your startup profile, and then you can actually make parts of it public. So, if it's I don't mean public, you can make it available to mentors and investors.
and so they can see that you did all the due diligence, with your startup. But you also can share it with your mentors or whoever is coaching you along. So it's got all the training and stuff that you need to fill out any startup program application, to enter into any kind of pitch competition. And it's the information that helps you answer all the questions. So if you're filling out an application for some opportunity and you don't understand what it's asking, this is the kind of training that can help fill that knowledge forward.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what the deal is there.
Yeah, I remember. I haven't really dug that much into startup science, but yeah, it's definitely on the list.
Yeah. So you'll so in your case, so right now you just completed the 90-day launch program, and so but you'll see as you start entering pitch competitions, because was it last week? I think it was last week. Here in Florida, the Florida Venture Forum had pitch competition. They gave away $300,000.
Oh wow! Yeah,
and so
I'll definitely be able to build off of that.
Yeah, and so in order to compete and stuff like that, you need to kind of know how to fill out those applications and articulate what you're doing there. Yeah. So let's go here. So a few more things I want to share before we start our conversation. So when you look at this chart, where would you say you're at?
Why are you gonna put me on the spot like that?
Yeah, because you've answered it incorrectly in the past. So I'm gonna see how much you're learning here.
Well, I am definitely at 0, and it's funny. I mean, after all that work,
I thought I heard you say you had product market fit from some one time.
Yeah. I thought I was, right. I thought I was all the way out there, but I am definitely sitting at a middle viable product. And it's funny because Pitch Bob will ask you this too, and it asks you those hard questions. It's like, hey, and then it'll say, yeah, well, that's nice, but hey, can I give you a suggestion? Blah blah blah. Okay, I guess I'm not there yet. So yeah.
But the point of this chart actually is to let you know you go through these startup development phases, and it's a journey, and so if you realize these phases that you're going to go through, you can be more clear about what you're doing. So and so as you can see, they're talking about the lean startup stuff and all that, and so a lot of people, they try to raise money, between this -2 and +1, but this is where you leverage the ecosystem at. So back here, you actually pitch your business model, and that's why we offer the business model design course. You pitch your business model, and you can actually get money for pitching your business model.
Right.
and that's a lesson that people have to learn as well. And so that this is a real important chart to kind of understand this journey. And this chart is for the Lean Stack platform, and so your first part of this journey is you're doing the business model design, and the purpose for learning this, which what's in this 30-day thing that's coming up next month, is to basically learn how to pitch your idea clearly and concisely. You actually learn how to pitch your business model clearly and concisely, but it's called a business model story pitch is what you're learning. So you'll literally do a brain dump on your idea, and then you will stress test it for desirability, viability, and feasibility. And so it's several milestones that you end up going through, and these are the milestones that you go through in a 30 day program. So from the idea to model founder fit, you set a goal for what you want to do, and you, based on the what you're going to be selling, the price you're going to be selling your product for, you determine this is customer sizing, and then the market sizing is also kind of based on that, and that's where that viability comes in with the pricing and like that. And so that's kind of the journey that you go through on the 30-day program. But most people, did you ever think there was milestones that you have to reach as you were going through the training?
Yeah, yes. And just to kind of add, when I first started my business, I started my business quite a while ago, and I thought my milestones were, I don't know, like advertise, do this, right? But you know, when you start getting those hard questions of like, okay, so what exactly are you selling? What exactly are you doing? You know, I would kind of start, you know, you start wavering a little bit, you know? So having clear cut milestones as you go along, it really, really helps. It really kind of brings all that chaos into order. So,
yeah, so that's great. And so, and when you transition out of the 30-day, and right after this 30-day program that's starting next month, we're going to roll right into a 90-day program, and you're going to be trying to reach these milestones here. So that's basically the Lean Stack platform and how it actually works. And then these are the life cycle phases you go through on the Startup Science program. And so we have one new addition to our training program to help founders out. And as I kind of learn more about that, I'll be sharing that. But basically, it's from Make Startups. It's called Co-Founder OS. So that's an interesting name, Co-Founder OS. And so when you apply for that training, it grades you on how well you describe your startup.
Okay, right. You were saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and so it literally teaches you the skills, you know, through the program. So we'll probably do a pilot of that in conjunction with the 90-day program, and so folks, and what's neat about that one, you actually get a national industry recognized certificate.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what's neat about that. All righty. So we're going to be talking with learning more about your story, Don. So folks in the audience, you know, so like if you have any questions about cybersecurity, between Don and I, we probably will do our best to answer them for you. I'll put most of it on Don. Yeah.
It's time to stump the dummy. Here we go.
Don, one of the things for me, people hear the word cybersecurity, and the young people, they hear it and they want to kind of jump into cybersecurity. But I guess it has a lot of facets to it. So what facet do you work in, you know, in your day job? What facet of it?
Yep. So I'm what they call a network defense analyst, right? So pretty much what I do is I do analytics on PCAP. I look at different types of files and stuff that get passed over the wire. Or for instance, if like I need to determine if there's like what the adversary is doing, I'll look at what they call TTPs. So like pretty much there's a lot of facets of cybersecurity was what I tell everybody. I mean, you can be in cybersecurity and just be no technical, all the way to deep diving and breaking apart assembly language. So there's a wide range. Now with AI coming into the mix, I'm not going to necessarily say that it's going to take away a lot of pieces of cyber, but it's definitely augmenting certain pieces. All I would say is that if you want to kind of keep that job security, you want to get as technical as possible, you know, because there are some things, because remember, there's human, I always tell everybody there's humans on the other side, you know. I mean, even if they are using robots, they still have the wants, needs, and desires as, you know, what adversaries have. So, you know, it's a very wide range career. So you don't necessarily have to get into programming. You know, you can be in accounting and work the supply chain and be in cyber, you know, pretty much. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So back up and, you know, kind of retell us about your journey. Like, so did you go in the military right out of high school?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
So what was your interest about the military?
Yeah, so I've always wanted to go into the military. I think since I was 6, pretty much. You know, I always knew that the military was going to be the future. I ended up getting in. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just know I wanted to work around airplanes. So I really I got into it. I pushed myself in school. I ended up taking school while I was active duty. And I got accepted back when I was in high school into Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, because that's where I was like, hey, you know, I'm going to Embry-Riddle. That's it. I kept pushing myself. I finally worked my way up to a master's degree. I ended up getting into kind of like a law enforcement training program in the Air Force or something like that. I decided not to pursue the career, so I went back into maintenance. And then I jumped into anti-terrorism, and I did anti-terrorism for a while. So just, you know, so, and just as I'm chugging along, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be a security person for, I don't know, I'm going to be like what they call a security director for an airport or something like that.
Gotcha.
Right around the time when I was retiring, there was a job in Korea. I didn't get picked up for the job. You know, Embry-Riddle, kind of having that degree that holds a big weight in the aviation industry. So you know, but of course, like anything else, you have to get certifications in the aviation industry in order for you to like elevate up. You have to get your AAA and stuff like that rating. And I didn't get picked up for the job. I was kind of like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll be a cop. Maybe I'll just do some stuff like that. And I went to a job fair right around about, say, maybe 2014-ish. When you're in the Air Force, the way the Air Force does things is you may be a weapons troop, but you have other little jobs that you have to do. I just happened to be at what they call a WRM base, and they made me pretty much the augmented ad hoc IT person for, you know, yeah. So I did that for like a good, year and a half, 2 years. And I kind of was like, man, why is my sergeant making me do this? And he's like, oh, man, whatever. So I went to the job fair, fast forward to 2014, and went to a job fair. They said, hey, have you ever thought about IT? I was like, yeah, I built computers. I did stuff with computers, but I never looked at it as a career because IT is always in the background. I ended up getting picked for a veterans scholarship program to get my certifications. And I was sitting in a class and I was getting taught by one of your peoples out of Eglin. And I was talking to her and I was like, well, ma'am, I don't have any experience really in IT. She said, so tell me what you did. I said, well, I did this anti-terror stuff, maintenance, and I did this little side IT stuff, whatever. She's like, that's experience. I said, oh, okay. So I went ahead, I got my Security Plus, Network Plus, Security Plus, and I applied to L3 and I got picked up for L3. So then I started working the help desk L3, and then from L3, I got picked up to Ab River. And then once I got to App River, that's when App River is a weird place. It's like you start off kind of in your normal IT stuff, and then you move into like what I call super IT, right? Where it's like, you know, hey, today you're kind of messing with, I don't know, regular reset my password, but the other one I had to like match up somebody's LDAP code or something like that because they had some kind of double thing or whatever it is. So after that, a friend of mine came to me that was in the program. He's like, yo, the government's hiring for cybersecurity. I was like, I'm not going to get into cybersecurity. Ain't no way nobody's going to pick me up for that job. So I went ahead. I went to the interview. The guys that were sitting in front of me, one of them was like a super high-tech, super Navy SEAL intel person. And he went up there and he got rejected. So I'm sitting at the table and I'm texting my wife. I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to be coming home really quickly here, right? So I went up to the counter And the person asked me, I said, yeah, like, yeah, I earned my 1811 from the Federal Law Enforcement Training Academy. I did ATO stuff. I did IT stuff, whatever. I said, pretty much what you get is a cheap FBI agent, what you get, right? Unbadged, whatever. So they're like, all right, go to the back. Okay. So I went ahead and I went to the back. And then they started interviewing me on all my DNS questions, right? And after, working in, I'm like, oh, DNS, okay, well, this, that, and other thing and whatever, and just talk to them about DNS. And then the guy's like, all right, go sit against the wall. So then there was a database guy that was sitting next to me. He was explaining all this database stuff. And I'm like, man, I am not going to get this job. What is going on with that? I was like, whatever. The database guy went and sat after me. He got rejected. I was like, this is going to be so bad. So then they called me back and they asked me security questions and that stuff. I had it, like I said, ATO, I was good to go. And then all of a sudden they said, all right, go sit back at the wall. Sat back at the wall. I'm like, okay, here we go. And the guy came out with a letter and said, you're blessed. I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, welcome to the agency. I was like, well, okay. And when I got hired, I got initially hired to be kind of like what they call like an incident response manager, right? So pretty much that's the liaison between the public and people that have incidents and they need to report it to the government. So that was, so when I walked into the floor, they're like, no, you're going to be an analyst. I'm like, and then the first thing, I'll never forget this. The guy came out, one of my coworkers came out. He's like, you remember your OSI model, right? I was like, yeah, I remember our OSI model. He's like, yep, let's go. Then I'm looking at PCAP, I'm using TCP dump, I'm looking at HTTPS packet. I mean, I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. So what I did was I used a lot of the security stuff that I learned because remember, it's just technology in the middle. Same needs, wants, and desires that the bad guys want. They want to turn off a light. So therefore they're going to employ whatever kind of mechanisms to turn off a light. So that's what I use over the course of the years that I worked at the organization until I started getting more and more training, more and more, experience. And then next thing you know, I'm a senior analyst running a team for the critical infrastructure. So it was quite a journey. I lost some of I don't have some of my hair here. And then one of my coworkers, I was sitting there and I was like, you know what? I was like, yeah, I can do my own business. I can go on a business. She's like, you know what? You should start your own business. Let me start. But I think because I'm so government, I focused in on all the business stuff, right? So LLCs, domains, all this. I mean, it's important, but honestly, it was kind of crap, right? And I'm starting to see this now that like a lot of the people that are on Crunchbase, the folks that are on Clutch, some of these, if you look at some of the names of these companies, they just come up with a name and they just, hey, here's my business model. Here's how I can make money. Give me money to make you money. And then they go, right? So I kind of was like, oh, let me get a perfect name. Let me get this. Let me get this. So I spun my wheels for a while. I got a couple customers. I ended up getting into a pretty bad car accident. So then I was sidelined for a while. And then the pandemic hit. Then I was really sidelined for a while, and then somebody I ended up going to like a group, and they said do a SWOT analysis. I did a SWOT analysis, and my SWOT analysis told me to call you, and I was like, let me call Lloyd. I met back in the day about this. Let me do this, and then I started, and that's when it opened my eyes. I wish I am so many years behind on doing the Lean Stack Canvas that I rep the Lean Stack Canvas to everybody I meet on the line. As soon as I think it's one of the best ways to build a business model that you're going to get out there. Because I did the business plan. I did that when I first started. I did the milestones for a business plan that I found on the internet. I did all that stuff. But what the Lean Stack Canvas did is it had me pretty much like, I like Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone's pretty much like, hey, you got to sell. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's ice cream, race cars, or whatever. You have to sell it, right? And you have to have the customers in order to sell it. And unfortunately, cybersecurity is very, very hard to sell unless you're in that system where So just out of an exercise, it helped me refine my product over time to get it where it needs to be. the Innovation Summit. And that's when the light finally came on at the Innovation Summit. I was like, okay, let me do this. And now we're moving into the next generation. So that's the whole story right there in the,
Yeah.
5
So
minute
like, yeah. So like all your work experience and having on that not. So what problem did you see needed solving out in the commercial world?
Yeah. One of the things I saw is that small and medium-sized businesses don't really think about cyber, right? But I mean, small and medium-sized businesses sometimes are dealing with the same amount of, not the same amount, but a lot of the same amount of data that enterprises are dealing with, right? So like, for instance, I ran into an individual that ran an MLM, and according to their partner, they have roughly 25,000 folks on their laptop, PII information, right?
Personal
And
information.
And it's just kind of a hog's, just a hog's hair from somebody getting into the machine and then stealing that information. And now a lot of insurance companies are getting wise, right? Because they're sick of the breaches, right? So when you can only have, there's only so much money in so many pots. And now they're starting to kind of go to small and medium-sized business like, hey, I understand you guys are doing your thing or whatever it is, but, you should have, Norton Antivirus is not really going to kick it for us. Sorry, we can't help you or whatever it is. You have to pay 25 cents per person.
So like you take Norton Antivirus, Windows Defender, all that stuff. So why is that not sufficient, from a cybersecurity perspective?
Because what a lot of, especially the DoD, the government, is everything works in layers, right? So so you don't just have host protections, you have network protections, you have physical security, you have layers of protection. Yeah. In addition to so you have your little Windows Defender, which is fine. And what's funny about this is, once again, lean set canvas, I'm starting to find out that a lot of the big companies are trying to work their way into small to medium-sized businesses with EDR solutions and endpoint detection response. So what's happening is, I've been working with a CEO for a part, that works on a piece of the product for, Wyvern Secure Shield, and he used to be a lawyer. He was a cyber lawyer, and what we're finding out together is that cyber is really getting commoditized, right? So they're finding ways to kind of make as much money off this cybersecurity gig as much as they can. So the layered approach is the right approach. That's okay. Because even some of the go ahead.
Yeah. So from a small, medium-sized business, what does the layered approach actually mean for, let's say, a medium?
Right. So just say, for instance, you're a small doctor's office, right?
Okay.
And you're a small doctor's office, and you have Bobby is your IT person, and Bobby, I don't know, he's can either be independent or MSP, but he has cybersecurity experience. Okay. What I found out on the Lean Stack Canvas is, you can have somebody like that, but the issue is that they don't have all the expertise in order to deal with whatever system. So this is just extreme. So just say you need the ransomware negotiation, right? So if you're, say, a company that has somebody like Mandiant, and Mandiant is Google, which is Google, right? You have experts that you can reach into, say, hey, look, I really need this data back. I really don't care. I got money in the bank. I'll just pay them. I don't care, right? Well, how do you negotiate with the ransomware folks in order to get your data back, right? You got to be specialized to do that. You can't just be some cat that they, Bobby, that's like, let me pick up the phone or let me go on the dark web and try to talk to these cats. Another thing is compliance. So there's a lot of things with compliance. Just say, for instance, you're a small business and then you need to be compliant in order to get on this government contract. Well, the government now is like, hey, you need to have the same protections that we have for these systems that are enterprise level systems, or we're not going to give you this contract. So who do you call? So you pick up the phone and you try to call Bob, and like, I don't know. You try to call a medium-sized MSP. Who are they going to reach out to? They'll go and reach out to an expert. So go ahead.
Yeah. So excuse me for interrupting you, but so wouldn't the same apply if you're a small to medium sized business or a startup and you want to do business with an enterprise company? Aren't they going to be concerned about security and cybersecurity as well?
Some of the enterprise companies, to save costs, are reaching down to independents in order to save that cost. So, for instance, like virtual CISOs, right? You know, if you have a breach, the first person to go is your CISO. Pretty much is like, hey, you didn't do whatever it is, bye. So a lot of companies are getting virtual CISOs or CISOs that are not like they either, I don't know, either, for instance, they need to, let me give a good example. So one of the individuals that I interviewed for my Lean Stack Canvas, they work with Sony, so or a big media company. Sony wants them to have the same protections that Sony has, or whoever it is. You know, they can't just to have a CISO, a dedicated CISO.
Tell the people what a CISO is.
Yep.
What is it?
Say again.
What is a CISO?
Oh, I'm sorry. I Chief of Information Security Officer. I'm sorry. I'm dropping acronyms. I apologize. Folks. But pretty much that's the person that's in charge of all your information security operations. So, and to have somebody on staff, that's those are $100,000 jobs. CISSP, certification, whatever. So what they're doing now is they're saying, well, okay, I have this guy that has this. He can get smart on our network, sign some NDAs, bring him on board, let him do what he needs to do, and then we can release him. And they're doing that more and more now. Small and medium-sized businesses, like I said, they're competing in spaces where big companies are competing. So these small to medium-sized businesses need a professional. And it's funny because I just went on a group networking thing today, and out of the 30 people that are on there, half of them are cybersecurity. More and more folks are getting into the space. Now, granted, it's getting saturated a little bit, but the market has a way of cutting that down sometimes.
Yeah. So like I'm trying to think how does let's say a medium-sized small business. So it sounds like what you're saying is, depending on who they're doing business with, they're going to force to get the right kind of cybersecurity protection. But it's just like so what really motivates a person to go take that extra step from the whatever Windows Defender, or what's the next level of security that you need outside of just something on your computer like that?
Right. Some people don't know. Some people just don't know. So what I learned doing my broad match and narrow match interviews is provide a risk assessment to individuals for free. And once I give that risk assessment to folks, then they kind of, I didn't know I needed that. I talked to one individual that didn't know about multi-factor authentication. I mean, and it's fun because remember, it's kind of like gazelle on an African plain. The lions are going to go for the slow, the sick, and the weak and the young, right? So that's how it is with actors. Is they're only going to try to hack, the Department of Defense so many times. They're going to go for the low-hanging fruit, especially low-level, unsophisticated actors. So what I found is the more and more I talk to the more and more I start doing these interviews, I find that people don't have that, right? They don't have that person to rely on, or they have to keep somebody on staff for $10,000 or more a month. And so that's where I figure, and it's funny, I found all this out on a Lean Stack, going through the Lean Stack and interviewing people and stuff. So so what kind of budget are you talking about for this medium-sized business, that they should allow for this cybersecurity stuff? Don't you see, now you ask me numbers. So number wise, I would say probably a good 10%, depending on, it depends. It depends. I tell folks to do the cybersecurity risk assessment first to see what you need. Because like I said, with stuff getting more commoditized, you'll get sold stuff that you may not need, right? So like with my product, with the Wyvern Secure Shield, it can descale or scale depending on what the business has. Because let's say, for instance, you are a doctor's office and you start out with one office and then you blow up to 5,000 offices, you know, you need a different solution than what you had before. And even if you're just one computer, you know, I have a product for one little person on the computer, because like I said, the MLM person, or sorry, the multi-level marketing person that had 25,000 addresses on their computer, you know. So that's
so give us an example, you know, using this layered method, what you're talking about here.
Mm-hmm. So what WSS consists of is, depending on what the risk assessment gives me, is a layer of products for the individual. So like, for instance, like, you know, there's AV in there, threat intelligence, and then me, or, you know, or staff dedicated to whoever the small, medium-sized business is. So that's an individual that you can call on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you know, if you have an issue, because most attacks will happen outside of normal hours, and, you know, you ain't got time to be calling, whatever. So
is this a piece of hardware you're talking about?
Well, yep. So one of the variants of my canvas does include a terminal that's you know, that an individual to give them a tech refresh, but you know, there's other there's other configurations for it to make it cheaper for the small to medium sized business. Remember we talked about that? That's one of the things we talked about. So like, you know, it's instead of you just having one tool for like a lot of prices, a lot of tools for like multiple prices, just one tool for one price, and then that's it. And then when it comes to compliance, it's literally a phone call as opposed to you hiring another auditor to come in and do your compliance stuff. It's just like, hey, Don, I need my stuff for my HIPAA compliance. All right, here you go. Boom, done. Here's your HIPAA compliance. And it all works in the cloud. So as more and more shops go into the cloud, it's already working in the cloud. Now, Gen 2, I can't wait to lean stack canvas that. Now my Gen 2 version has an integrated AI like analyst that's a part of the system itself. So like, you know, I kind of mentioned it today on the networking thing, and somebody's like, oh, what's that? You know, so it's kind of like Huntress, you know, that's a EDR solution, whatever it is, but it has more of a, how can I say, like a deeper flavor of AI that, like, you know, I've been lean stacking for a while.
Yeah. So the current the version you have now, so approximately what does that cost a month? So
that costs about $400 a month, and right now there's a 25% discount on it. And also to the cybersecurity risk assessment is for free. So like, you know, and it's a very light risk assessment. It's not like a hard pen test that somebody's actually sending, like, you know, packets somewhere to get into systems. So
when you say when a business is spending $400 a month, so what is that? Is that like a restaurant type? That's, you mentioned doctor's office. So typically, what are some businesses that are, I'm trying to think, what's the smallest business that's willing to spend $400 a month on cybersecurity?
Right. So for, let's say, let's take it to the smallest business, right? An individual. Okay, let's take it to a straight individual. So an individual will pay roughly about, I don't know, $79 per year for something like Norton Antivirus, right? Okay. So you go and you pay for Norton Antivirus, but then that's it. You don't get any kind of, like, so for instance, if something happens, right, you're that person with that 25,000, you know, points of information on your machine, you get ransomware, somebody breaks in, you use it, Norton Antivirus, you can't pick up the phone and talk to Norton Antivirus or anybody to help you fix that. You cannot do it. It's just not how they're built. So with my product helps you replace the antivirus components to begin with. So you don't have to need Norton or anything like that. And depending on what the risk assessment tells me of what you need. And in addition, you get dedicated intelligence to say, hey, look, you guys are running this kind of system, this whatever. Hey, you know, Dr. Jones or whatever it is, you know, on the dark web, like, you know, right now Pixel 8s a critical vulnerability came out with some kind of weird 0-day for pixels, right? Well, you're not, as a doctor, you're not going to sit there and kind of like watch the hacker news, right? You're not going to do that. So with the customers that are under our umbrella, we'll reach out to them, talk to them, and give them mitigations and fixes on how to make that, without just sending them an email saying, all right, good, you're good to go, bye. So that's, and like I said, we can reduce the amount of the product depending on the business, depending on early adopters, depending on that's the cool thing about being the boss there. And
so I kind of wanted to make sure that, the startups, so startups, if they grow their customer base, or if they have that personal identifiable information on their, within their app or whatever application.
Yep.
Yeah. So it almost sounds like anybody that has a customer base of, with a lot of critical or personally identifiable information, having access to that.
Yeah, I've got a meeting, I think tomorrow or next week, with an individual that does point of sale systems for oh my goodness, like the whole southern region, and he wants to have a discussion with us to try to, to take a look at our product. And I really want to get this out here. I did not have all this until I went to the Lean Stack camp. I did not have that at all. So it was kind of like $61 an hour, blah, 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 blah. So yeah.
But I think so. Kind of what trying to just hone in on this idea of what your business model. But what did you? So what did you? I'm trying to think. So what's kind of your unique value proposition as opposed to another competitor or whatever?
So right now, the only competitor that I kind of delineate in town is Huntress. Huntress has a human component that a lot of other systems don't have. So they have actually dedicated analysts that work on your actual problem. The issue, the only issue is you need an MSP to get Huntress. And in Huntress, you have to set up Huntress, right? So you have to actually set up the EDR solution. My solution is a little more intimate and a little more automated, with us thrown into the mix. So for instance, like, the core piece of the whole product works in a virtualized environment. So you don't really have to deal with your box getting, popped or whatever it is. You're working in a virtual environment. So for instance, if like, I don't know, like you do get ransomware, they get through the other layers and you do get ransomware. It's like, hey, Don, I got a blue screen this morning. Oh, wow. Look at that. Somebody clicked on an email, whatever it is. Not a problem. Here you go. Boom. 2 buttons. Your backup. It goes to your backup that's been taken for, whatever it is. So all that works virtually in the cloud. And actually, that's pretty much how the federal government, that's how the government works. They don't have time for it.
Are you saying you taking the government approach for cybersecurity?
Well, more so, not the
So we, like I'm trying to kind of get you kind of a slogan here, because so when one of the things on the Lean Canvas, it talks about this high level concept. So how do you get people to kind of have an analogy of what your product is to something they may already know? So are you bringing government type cybersecurity to the small to medium sized business?
Well, right, and that's what we talked about last week or whatever it is. The whole cybersecurity as a service model, right?
Yeah, but so what I'm getting at, if you were communicating to a potential customer, or you were communicating in a pitch or something that an investor is trying to help you grow and build your next generation of product, would you kind of have with your high level concept would be like, we bring government level cybersecurity to small businesses?
Yeah. I mean, that's so. Sometimes I was on a technology network event, today, and I pretty much said that security operations center in a box. and pretty much, how I kind of describe it. Not that many people know what a security operations center is, so that wouldn't be something that I would
Well,
voice to
that's
somebody not in
so
technology.
that's kind of the analogy. What trying to, so like when you're communicating to potential customers, the security operations center, they don't know what that means, but but they can, to me, they can imagine if you said, we bring government level type security to the small business. All of them, if that's not it, what I'm saying, you need to come up with something to make it click a little faster for a customer, because I think in the cybersecurity space that you're dealing in, it's still like vaporware to people. They don't get it.
I'm with you 100%. And I just went ahead and took a note, because like I think folks, like I don't think they understand, because I think we watch a lot of movies. So what they don't understand is the government works in layers. Their security is in layers. Everything's in layers, So, so I think sometimes people think, okay, well, one product, this. No, it's layers. They have to work, and products have to work together too. So,
well, I know some people, the business owners, they like, people like to be proud of how well they're doing whatever they're doing.
Yep.
And if they understand that, imagine how so a business owner can feel vulnerable, or they can feel confident.
Right.
So does your product leave them feeling vulnerable, or does it leave them feeling comfortable?
Well, I would think
that's it's
that's the bad thing about security sometimes is, remember, like the bad guys only have to get, we have to be right all the time. Bad guys only have to get it, right once. So like, but what I learned, once again, I'm going to keep repping this Lean Stack Canvas, is when I talked to one of potential early adopters, she said that she would like to get regular updates on what my company and product is doing for her. It's like she wanted it. So like, so she wanted reports, she wanted dark web reports on her specific company, everything. So I was like, okay, no problem. Monthly reports, weekly reports. She's like, yeah, a monthly report will be fine.
Okay,
right.
gotcha. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So yeah, my whole objective here was, just to make sure to you have a cybersecurity background. You decide to start building a cybersecurity product, and so as a founder, you have to weave that into a story if you want to get help taking your product to the next level.
Right.
It's kind of, so that's how you have to kind of, because it's all about the this thing. So you're trying to build something that fills a void. You have to kind of be able to explain what the void is, and you so you have to kind of weave your background, and what you're building into a story that makes sense to people. And I just based on what the conversation tonight, the high level concept definitely going to help you out, but that high level concept is it has to be something that people can actually relate to. Yeah, and so I think that's what I like about the launch program. If you talk to people and ask them the right questions, you're gonna get to that solution, design that solution, and you're gonna get to what makes it click for people, and that's what the point there is.
Well, that makes a very good point, because like I said, in 2023, even getting to that point was hard. So getting to that point was hard. So I'm very excited to go through 30-day again. I've been talking to a couple AI companies, and they're interested in the next gen of the product. And so, yeah, so I'm excited.
Yeah. So you definitely got to get that uh, 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 that
Yep. Yes, it does. Yes, it does, Tony. Preach. Yes, it does.
but
Yeah.
life is interesting as a founder. So the bottom line is, I think, and see, the reason why I hop on a lot of the stuff I hop on is because it is all about communication and what's the best way to communicate it.
Yep.
And so what you leverage the pitch Bob thing. So now I think when you go back and look at how it communicates in your business model canvas or in your one pager, you're going to find out that's what I like about the AI stuff. It understands what people to make things clear for people. And so we don't tend to just we know what we know and we say what we know, but we may not know if it's what we're saying is clear to people. And so that's why with your all that documentation pitch Bob did for you, you definitely need to go back and just take a look at it and see how it compares to what you have on your lean canvas and how your lean canvas says it and all that stuff. So that's kind of what I would say about that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any parting comments for the folks out there, and as it relates to cybersecurity, or as it relates to if you have a startup idea, how the lean stack helps you through that?
Yep. For startup and lean stack, definitely. It doesn't matter what kind of business you're trying to start. You really want to see if there's a market out there for it. If there's customers, if somebody's willing to buy it, and that's what gives you money, because that's what helps investors say that's when I'm going to get a return on my money. So, so having that approach and let me say that I took this is a very challenging career field and very challenging way to kind of come up with something, and it really lined everything out for me. So if you have like a very popular, real simple product, like I remember there was one young lady that had something about hair extension things or something like that. I mean, you can clean up by using the lean stack, because a lot of folks start a business without a plan. They just kind of start it like I did, and then it's like, oh, I did a business plan, I'm good. Oh, okay, yeah, and it can't answer these questions. And even when I was out one day, I was getting asked straight up questions like, oh, so what does your company do? Oh, what about this? So what about this? What about this? And I wouldn't be able to answer those without the lean stack canvas. So definitely, if you go ahead and sign up with Lloyd and pay attention, it's going to take you out of your comfort zone. But hey, that's every time you get in the gym, you're supposed to be out of your comfort zone. So, and then for cybersecurity, multi-factor authentication, and keep doing your updates.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So I'm happy you said that. And you mentioned this site called Clutch. And so what is the site that you put your startup profile on it, or?
Yes. So I found it kind of on the whim when I was doing something with Crunchbase base, and Clutch is kind of, I guess maybe they're a competitor. I don't know. But they'll lay out what your business is, how much you're charging for your business. It'll give you a way for people to get reviews on your business and stuff like that. So I found it once again, just doing research for Lloyd and doing research, and I came across it. And I was like, hey, what is this? And I found other folks it's a good way to kind of see other companies, because remember, we're all making the same hamburger, right? I mean, unless you're like trying to calculate electrons over a wire or something like that, we're all making the same hamburger. So you'll be able to go look at other hamburgers and say, oh, okay, that's not what they're doing. Let me try to go this direction. So that's what I did. And I made a profile on there along with Crunchbase, and it really opens your eyes to how the ecosystem works. In fact, I saw a very popular company, I think it was Rapid7, they went for S-bar money from the Navy and they got it. And then they put it, I mean, and then some of the stuff that Corey told me about how some of these companies take money and then they just put it and they live off the dividends and they go and I mean, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Um, um, I would honestly say that you definitely want to love the problem and not the solution. You definitely want to learn that. And that's hard. That's a tough pill to swallow. That's a very tough pill to swallow because we're all proud of our babies, right? So.
Yeah. All righty. Well, we appreciate you sharing your story, and we wish you much success in your journey. And I think things are becoming clearer and clearer for you. So take advantage of it. But I kind of want to commend you and then Catrice. I think you two, you all, like when you look at the platform from the 30-day to the 90-day, I think you two will have the highest score of all the different cohorts of actually engagement in the training, and that's commendable. So what happens a lot of time when people see people really trying and trying to learn, no matter how challenging things are, people will help people that they know are trying to learn, help them actually move forward. And so my what I would say to the audience, once you get access to the training, get involved there, get engaged in the training, because the information is there. Just relax and dig in and try to learn it, because that's what's going to make the difference in you moving forward. And the more stuff you do, the brain just start wiring things correctly.
Amen.
But if you don't do much, your brain is not going to wire up the right way that it should. So
I think what I learned is that my business is not all about me, right? It's not. There's a whole ecosystem, a whole language, just like with cyber, right? A cyber guy and a database guy may speak the same language on this level, but there may be other pieces that we don't speak. So that helps a lot. And like I said, I mean, even if, I don't know, one day I decide to, I don't know, sell Post-it notes, I'll definitely lean stack canvas my Post-it notes for my laptop bag. You know what I'm talking about out there, folks.
Yeah.
So so it's a game changer, big time.
All right. Well, you take care. Thanks for being on. And if you just hold on a second, I'm going to go ahead. We'll see you all next week.